Now, let me add one more piece that people really need to understand about life after divorce. A lot of people think once the divorce is final, the emotions will go away. Grief and anger don't disappear because paperwork got signed. Grief and anger fade when they're processed and integrated. And if they're not processed, they keep spiking the emotional dial, sometimes weeks later, sometimes months later, right when you thought you should be over it. And if you ever thought, why am I still feeling this? Listen to this. So to put this in perspective, when you first took the test, you were at 29th percentile for grief. Okay, you were still sad, and now you're at 72. So pretty dramatic jump there. So there is something there that the scores indicate you've made significant progress on the grief.
And so the numbers going up means that what are we trying to get to 100% where I've gotten through the grief?
We like to see 80% or above.
Okay.
Like that's normal. And what you'll find, the goal is not to be rid of your grief in 10 weeks, but to make a huge leap in that is a big one. So you've done that, and I would imagine you'll continue to see that go up over time. You'll feel better. You won't be thinking about the past as much. But it takes what it takes. The goal isn't to magically erase grief or anger. The goal is to stop letting them run the dashboard. And this is why so many people feel confused about life after divorce. They're doing the legal work. They're trying to handle the finances. They might even be trying to move on socially or date. But internally, the emotional dial is still pegged. So life feels chaotic. If you have kids, this is where it often gets amplified because parenting becomes the place where stress shows up the most.
And remind me, where were you when you started the program? What was going on for you? And I know you have a lot going on still, but what was sort of the situation? Talk to
Yeah, we just finished figuring out the custody thing, and it was a very contentious situation. I'm not quite as fearful, I think, as I was going into the future, and that's been very helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say the emotional dial doesn't stay in its own lane. When emotions are high, everything else costs more, especially parenting decisions and communication. But here's the good news. You don't have to solve your whole divorce today. What you need first is clarity, because right now, your brain is trying to create certainty by replaying everything. And that just keeps you stuck in the doom loop. So instead of guessing, measure. The obvious next step is to measure what you're feeling. So there's this tool. It's really cool. It's totally free. It takes a few minutes, and it gives you something most people don't have in their life after divorce. Clear snapshot of where you actually are. So here's what it does. It tells you how high your emotional dial is right now, how flooded your system is. And it breaks that down into the 4 areas we talked about earlier: relationships, identity, feelings, and thoughts. So you're not getting just one generic score, you're getting an entire map. You'll see, okay, my thinking is off the charts, or my feelings are overwhelming. My identity took a major hit, or relationships are where I'm struggling most. And one of the easiest ways to understand what this does is to think of it like a simple health check, something objective that tells you what's going on under the surface.